Self-love, love, 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 love.
Hi, and welcome to Ruby's Red. Out of nowhere, I got hit with a viral infection. Did I have time for this? No, I'm busy. But it hit me, and it was rough, believe me. And I was literally like, I'll spare you the details. You don't really want to hear them for real. But in the heat of my dis-ease in my body, with all the dreaded symptoms, I had no voice, just air, just air. Out of concern, I went to my doctors. Now, he said, you've caught a viral infection and you must rest the voice. Only whisper. Whisper. Learn to whisper if you have to speak. Now, the voice itself is an instrument in itself. It carries the sound of the human voice. But I'd love to do a whole session on the voice, but it's a huge subject. Now, how do you communicate when you have no voice? The truth is, I was really frustrated. How can this happen to me? I don't have time for this. When I actually calmed down and I became still to listen to the message, what did I notice? Wow, I noticed how much I used my voice, how much I took it for granted that I just get up in the morning and it shows up every morning. But you know something? I noticed how frustrated I was that I actually couldn't speak. Now, my doctor said, if you have to talk, just whisper. What? Just whisper. Just whispering. Like, that was difficult for me to just whisper and it wasn't fun. But what did I notice in my not having a voice? I noticed that I was holding tension in my body, not being able to communicate, not being able to really be heard, not being able to really feel that I was understood. And it really felt uncomfortable, not having a voice. But on reflection, what happens when we are in spaces where we are not heard for various reasons? What happens then? In family settings, in friendship groups, in friendship settings or workspaces where your voice is denied being heard, in social groups and settings, over time, what happens to you or us? Many things can happen. We can be frustrated, we can have low moods, we can have outbursts, we can feel alone, isolated, restricted, social anxiety, lacking confidence, feeling uninspired, demotivated, living a hidden shell of yourself when there's more to yourself in that shell, or waiting for depression to just make a deposit. But what do you do when you are silenced in spaces of privilege, of circumstance, of conflict or misunderstandings, or the lack of diversity? What happens when your voice is not heard and sometimes silenced? What do you do then? Well, I've always been taught, don't go where you're tolerated, go where you are celebrated. But for me, I always go to God first. Why? Because he says, be anxious for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication, let your request be made known to him. Because he's a mother to the motherless and a father to the fatherless and a voice to the voiceless. But if you are unable to move in spaces like that, if you are in one right now and you can't move and you don't have a voice for whatever reason, I would say to you first, pray. Pray first. In all your ways, acknowledge him and he will direct your path. But what do you do? What do you do when you're stuck in spaces like that and there's nothing you can do, but you have to just be there? I would say, firstly, one, check in with yourself. How are you doing? Wait for the answer. Because sometimes we just rush on in life and we don't wait for the answer. Because how can you serve someone if you don't actually wait to hear what their needs are? Firstly, yourself. That's self-love. Secondly, the power of one. That's someone that will create a safe space for you. That makes all the difference. Because truly being heard is truly being seen. And I see you. I see you. And number 3, find spaces that cultivate your value, building your self-confidence, places that you can grow, places that you can flourish. It might be a gym, it might be a talking group, it might be an art group, but whatever it is, finding your voice is a painful process, but find it all the same. You shall not die, but you shall live to declare, says the Lord. And remember, the power of one is powerful. It's positive, safe exchange to evolve as we are all interrelated and interconnected where life happens. So let us invest in our voices. So in our being, we would be wealthy. So Ruby is Red, here to share, here to connect, and here to serve. So we can blossom in our bloom and flower in our power, share the light with the love, and share the love with the light. See you soon. I got my voice back!